What's up, guys? Thanks for joining me again. We're in the second part of my series where I'm building out training programs for clients. So I'm just kind of giving you a bird's eye view into how I build out training programs for clients. And then I'm also providing you a free copy of the training program that we're talking about. So these are generic programs designed for people who want to put on muscle but are limited in how much time they have to train. You can click the link below in order to receive the training program in its entirety through the entire first phase. So today, we're going to be looking at people who only have 4 hours a week to train. And that's the first consideration that I look at when building out a training program for a client is how much time do they have available? Because that predicates everything else. You could say, well, Jake, isn't the first thing you would look at is like what their particular goals are? No, because the reality is when you work with people who have careers, when you work with people who have families, they have a lot of demands on them, you have to manage expectation. So if somebody said to me, I'm gonna get my chest bigger, I'm gonna get my shoulders bigger, I'm gonna get my arms bigger, I'm gonna get my legs bigger, and I've only got 2 hours a week to train, I have to manage that expectation. If you only got 2 hours a week to train, we really need to be very focused on what we're doing. If somebody has, 4 hours to train, like in the case of what we're going to be building out today, we can work on a couple different things at the same time. If you're brand new to training, 2 hours is better than nothing. If you're brand new to training or you've only been training for a couple of years and you're working out 3 hours, you can still get results. As you get further along, you need to open up your availability. You need to continue to feed this thing. You have to give it more. So at this point now, we're talking about a 4-day split for training. And there's really 2 different ways to approach this. You can do an upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, or you can literally flip that around, right? Lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body. Those are your 4 days. But not everybody wants to, half the time they go to the gym to weight train, be training their lower body. So the other option is a push, a pull, a lower, and a combined upper. And today, I'm going to be looking at a 4-day program that is push, pull, lower, combined upper. And again, if you click the link below, I'll literally send you that program for free, built out the entire phase. So today, we have 4 hours a week to train, broken up into 4 sessions, about 55 to 60 minutes to train. And I'm gonna be walking through my logic for how I built out this program and what I think you can accomplish with 4 hours a week. So same thing we did with the 2-day split. The first thing we're gonna look at is volume in order to accomplish our goals, because it's very important that you get the correct amount of volume when trying to train to look better in and out of your clothes. You need to do enough sets of chest in order to make your chest look better. If you want to make your butt look bigger, you need to give it sufficient volume. So again, we have this volume chart that you should consider when building out your training programs. There's a lot of different coaches in the industry that use these kind of volume matrices, and they're all relatively the same, but you can see that with mine and every single one of theirs, there's a range. And the reason is that from person to person, things differ dramatically. Like the more experienced you are, the more capable you are of training intensely. If you watch me weight training, I train very, very close to failure. And I can tell you, honestly, the longer I've done it, the more I'm able to access and calculate how close I truly am to training to failure. Like back in the day, like even a couple of years ago when I thought I was training to failure, it's nowhere near as intense as now when I train to failure. It's just a skill that you learn over time. So if you're newer to training, you're probably going to need more volume because one, your sets aren't as efficient, right? You're just not as good. I mean, how do you get better by doing something? By doing it. If you did the breaststroke over time, you're gonna get more efficient at doing the breaststroke. If you're doing one arm rows over and over again, over time, you're going to understand how to get the most out of each and every single set. And it's just a matter of like, you have to attempt these things to get better at it. So when you're training quads, it's gonna be somewhere between 14 and 24 sets. That's a big range. That's 10 sets. That's a lot of work, the difference between those 2 ranges. But again, people differ from person to person. So the next most important thing that I would tell you is if you have 4 days to train, you still want to train very intensely. The reason is that like when we talked about 3-day training split, you want to train very near to failure. With the 4-day split, now we can accomplish more. We can do more exercises. We can get more sets on more muscle groups, but we still need to have that sense of urgency where we're training very close to failure. On each and every single one of my sets, I go near to the brink of failure. So we're looking at rates of perceived exertion that are somewhere around that 8 or 9 or even 10 reps. Like most of my squats, they're gonna be like a rate of perceived exertion of like 9. Like maybe I had 1 rep left in the tank and I stopped clear. It's very rare that I fail on a squat, but I wanna get very close. And it's important, again, that we achieve when we're doing these things technical failure, which means that we don't overcompensate, that we're not swinging, that we're not breaking form. So I've shown this example before, but in the example of like a tricep extension, I do a neutral grip, do a tricep extension. This is fully shortened, this is fully lengthened, fully shortened, fully lengthened, and technical failure would be when I can no longer fully shorten my arm. It would not be where I have to compensate to do it. And people do that to varying degrees where they kick back to keep moving. We don't want to be using momentum. We don't want to be cheating in order to achieve this technical failure. We want to get as close though to technical failure as possible while preserving our repetition. So those are important considerations, the total volume that we're doing and getting very close to failure while training. Now I'm going to break down one of our days of our 4-day program. Again, the entire program is available down below. Simply click the link and you're able to receive the entire 4-day split, which is push, pull, lower, and combined upper. Today, we're gonna be looking at combined upper, and I'm gonna walk you through my logic and why I picked the exercises that I did. Okay, now we are looking at day 4 of my 4-day program in detail. Day 4 is the combined upper. It's both a push and a pull day. The first day of this program is push. The second day is pull. The third day of the program is lower body. And the fourth day that we're looking at in detail today is my combined upper. I want to walk you through the logic of why I'm picking the exercises that I am on day 4 of this program. And again, remind you that you can click the link below to receive the entire 4-day program, the entire first phase of my 4-day push, pull, lower, upper body program by clicking the link below. But let's walk through day 4 and I'll let you know why I made the selections that I did for it. So the first movement is a machine press. And the reason that I put a machine press on day 4 is that we've already trained chest earlier in the week and I relied a lot on dumbbell work. And so now I want to choose exercises that are very stable and that allow me to generate a lot of force because my chest is already slightly fatigued. I trained it probably 2-3 days ago after day 1. Remember, you can space these program days out however you like or however is best for your life. You're just trying to get all 4 days in within a 1-week span. And so this 4th day now, I've already trained my chest earlier in the week. And so I'm going to be relying on something like a machine press that really allows me to stabilize. The key here is to make sure that my elbows get back just slightly behind my spine, almost where my rear delts touch the pad of the machine, and then to push myself into the pad. People commonly think about when pressing, about trying to push their arms away from them. You shouldn't. You should think about pushing your back into the pad because that's going to allow you to be as stable as possible and therefore generate as much force as possible while pressing. The second movement of the program is pronated pull down. So I love this movement because it's a lot of upper back as well as lats. There's a couple different ways that you can do some variation of a pull down. There's the chin up or the chin down, which is gonna get a lot of bicep and a lot of lat. There's a neutral grip, which is really easy on the shoulder. The pronated grip with this position, it allows me to both get lat and quite a bit of upper back muscles. So my traps are gonna be involved in this movement. My lats are involved again, my rhomboids. I let it really stretch me at the top, and then I pull down to where my clavicle are. A good way of thinking about it is if you were wearing a necklace or a chain, I'm basically pulling down to where the chain would be. And I'm allowing those elbows to get behind my back as I pull down. And this is a great total back movement because again, we're limited here. We have 4 days. I only have 2 days to train back I want something that works my back in its entirety. Doing something like a pull-up, right? A lot of people think that a pull-up is a progression of a pull-down. In some ways it is, it's a more difficult exercise, but in a lot of ways, it's really a shoulder stability exercise where this is more of like focusing on working your actual lats. So there's a lot of, if you're healthy enough to do it, benefits to doing a pull-up, but in terms of like for hypertrophy, this is in general a much better way to grow if you're trying to look better in and out of clothing. So pull down is number 2. Third movement on this program is a machine fly. The entire benefit of a fly is that stretch portion, getting all the way back here. If you're doing really kind of like shallow flies where you're not getting all the way back, you're missing out on the biggest benefit. When your arms come together like this to do a fly, believe it or not, presses are always superior because you're just holding more weight. Think about it. What can you do with a fly? I don't know, maybe if you were doing dumbbells as an example, remember we're doing a machine fly here, but if you were doing dumbbells, maybe you have 30-pound dumbbells, maybe you have 20-pound dumbbells, but if you're doing 30-pound dumbbells on a fly, you're probably doing 80-pound dumbbells when you're pressing. So there's gonna be a lot more weight in this end portion of the movement. But when you come down with a press, here's where my arms are at. My elbows are here, my hands are here. Think about it, if my arms come all the way out here, there's a much greater lengthening portion on that part of the fly. So your hands are all the way out here. There's a lot of tension on your pectoral at this bottom range, the fully lengthened portion of the machine fly. So we have the machine fly in here because it works uniquely, that lengthened portion of the pec. The next movement is a one-arm row. And we've talked about this before, but I can't think of a better total body movement for back than the one-arm row. It allows you to work lat, it allows you to work mid-back. We got a lot of upper back muscles from that pull down. And so now we had also a vertical pull. Now we have a horizontal pull. So different force vectors and also different parts of the trap. Whereas that will work upper trap, this is really working like mid trap. This is going to allow me to get some rhomboid in there because my elbows are going to be tucked in. Whereas over there, my elbows were flared out, a little bit more reared out. This is a little bit more rhomboid. You can really also still work our lats by going in that arcing like fashion. So that's our fourth movement. Again, I always love one arm rows because I think you're just able to really be stable while generating a ton of force with this movement. Our fifth movement is dumbbell lateral raise. And again, fourth day, we have a combined upper. So we're doing both push and pull. I love this exercise again because you get a trap in it and you also get deltoid. So you really get a chance to work your shoulder while doing this movement because with a dumbbell, there's virtually no tension at the bottom. And as you come up, the weight gets heavier and heavier. So as I'm coming up on my lateral raise, when the trap really starts to get involved, the deltoid really starts to get involved, we're getting up there and we're engaging both of those muscles simultaneously. We're looking for things with a lot of bang for our buck. Now, normally, I love the cable lateral raise, but that's actually on our first day of this program. So it's an opportunity to have something that's a different strength curve and again, really works the trap along with the delt. Next, we're going to easy bar curls. I like this exercise because it's not a compound movement, but it's a real way that you can really put some load on your biceps. And the way I like to do this exercise, and it's demonstrated, is I like to keep continuous tension on my biceps. So if you think about it, when I have this bar straight down, there's no work on my bicep. My biceps are not engaged at all right now. Gravity is just pulling this thing down. My traps are kind of holding it a little bit, but it's not a lot of work for my traps because the weight's so light. So I keep my hands out in front of me, I straighten my arms, automatically my biceps kick in. Then I curl, 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 and as I curl, I allow my elbows to elevate slightly. And I bring back down with my elbows still elevated. The reason for this is that a bicep is a triticular muscle. It uses three different parts. It has elbow flexion, wrist supination and pronation, and shoulder elevation. Believe it or not, to fully shorten your bicep, you have to elevate your shoulders in order to do that. So as I come down, I allow my bicep to fully straighten, lengthen down here, because if I come here, there's no tension on the bicep. Remember, gravity, just the way it works, there's no tension. So this is where I stop at the bottom. I curl up, 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 allow my elbows to raise, and come back down. And this is the sixth exercise on today's program, and we end with another tricep movement, because remember, you want both compound and isolation movements if you're really trying to optimally grow something. So if you want your triceps to really grow, you need something like a pressing movement as well as something like a push down movement. So we're doing an easy bar grip push down here. And what I'm really focusing on is going into fully shortened position and all the way down to a fully lengthened position on each and every rep. That is my combined upper day program. It's 7 movements. It should take you a little under an hour. And again, you can click the link below and you can have the entire 4-day program. It's push, it's pull, it's lower, it's combined upper. It's in the link below. And this is a breakdown of day 4 and why I picked the movement. I hope you enjoyed what you saw today. You can hit subscribe. If you like what you see, I'm on IG. I have a big following on Instagram. That's where the majority of my followers are. I hope you're enjoying the YouTube content. I really find it very fulfilling doing this long form content. And thanks for Madison Ave Strength Lab. It's located in Larchmont, New York, for having me here today to shoot.